Hello and welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, it's Lewa baby. This is the first hat that I made. It looks a little crazy, I know, but the first hat is always a little crazy. This is the second hat that I made. Can you tell what this one is inspired by? And America's the wrong answer. No. This is inspired by Cowboy Carter. And this one is also like uber special because I fully completed it. By having this extra crochet fabric on the inside of the hat, it actually makes the hat just a little bit smaller. This black one might actually be my favorite. I did not complete the inside. All of these cowboy hats I got from Hobby Lobby. They were about $4.49 each, very cheap. This is the tutorial cowboy hat that I made, and this is the hat that I'm going to be making to teach you how to make your very own cowboy hat. So let's get right into this tutorial. For this hat, I used a weight 5 acrylic yarn from I Love This Yarn and a 5.5mm crochet hook. I had a terrible center pull, and that's why I like to wind my yarn up into these balls, and I put them into my yarn holder and just take it from here. I used less than 1 skein of yarn to make this hat, so that was really good. The first part of this tutorial requires you to make 10 half double crochet foundation stitches, and I'm going to show you how to make a foundation stitch. So you first start with the slip knot and you chain 3. And then you insert your hook into the first chain. Then you pull through, and you're gonna yarn over and pull through the first loop, and you should have 3 loops left on your hook. You're gonna yarn over again and now pull through all 3 loops. This should have created your very first half double crochet foundation stitch. Now you can use a stitch marker to mark that first stitch so you don't get confused, because we're going to be inserting our hook right back into that first stitch again. Now I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into that first stitch that I just created, pull through the yarn, yarn over, pull through the first loop, and then yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. I'm now going to create 8 more half double crochet foundation stitches for a total of 10 stitches. Once this is complete, you should be able to see 10 stitches on each side of the piece. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and half double crochet 10. This is going to be the second row of half double crochet, since we've already started the first row by creating a foundation stitch. Once you've reached the end of the second row, you're going to chain 1, turn your work again, and crochet another 10 half double crochet. I'm going to continue creating rows until I have a total of 10 rows. After completing the 10 rows, I am now going to start working along the side of the piece But first, I'm going to mark my last stitch with a stitch marker. After my chain 1, I am then going to insert my hook into the side of the piece. So to be clear here, there's no actual stitch that's been made on the side of this piece, but I'm going to be creating these stitches by just simply inserting my hook into the side of the piece. It is very important to keep track of the number of stitches that you're making and also how often you're creating a stitch, because you need to have a total number of 25 stitches created on this side. At the halfway mark on the side of the piece, you should have created about 13 stitches and you should have 12 stitches left to go before you reach the other end of the piece. After creating 25 stitches, you're going to half double crochet 10 along the shorter edge of the piece, and then on the other side of the piece create another 25 stitches of half double crochet, and then you should finally be on your way towards your starting stitch marker, and you're going to half double crochet 10 along the other shorter end of the piece. Once I'm back at the stitch marker, I end my work with a slip knot, and then I chain 1 to start my next round. You should end up with a total of 70 stitches around your piece now. This is going to count as row 1 on the second part of making this cowboy hat. To start the next row, you're going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in each stitch for a total of 70 stitches. At the end of each row, make sure to use a slip knot to end your row and then chain 1 before starting the next row. I'm going to continue to build up this hat for a total of 12 rows of 70 stitches in each row. After you've completed your 12 rows of half double crochets, you are officially halfway there and almost done with your cowboy hat. At this point, you can pull out your novelty hat and fit your piece over it just to make sure it's looking right. If you would like to change colors within your hat, these 12 rows of half double crochet would be a great time to start changing colors like I did for the Cowboy Carter hat. Now, starting on the brim of the hat, we're going to be making 10 half double crochet increases in each row of the brim. I start by chaining 1, and to make an increase, I'm going to half double crochet into the first stitch, and then I'm going to make another half double crochet into that same exact stitch. That is how you do an increase. Now for the next 6 stitches, I'm only going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch. In order to have 10 increases, I'm going to repeat this sequence 9 more times. So I'm going to increase in the first stitch and then place 1 half double crochet in the next 6 stitches. And after repeating this a total of 10 times, my total stitch count when I reach my stitch marker should be 80 stitches. Once I'm back at my stitch marker, I'm going to use a slip knot to end my row, and then I'm going to chain 1 to start the next row. For row 2 of the brim, we're going to do the same thing, 10 increases. So I'm going to start by increasing in the first stitch. Then I'm going to place 1 half double crochet in the next 7 stitches. It is extremely important to make sure that you're counting your stitches properly, because your stitch count is going to determine the evenness of your hat. You can tell where you're going to increase because it's pretty much the same spot for each row. You're increasing in the same place every time. At the end of your second row of the brim, you should have a total of 90 stitches. Again, you're going to end your row with a slip knot and chain 1 to begin the next row. So now I'm just going to put the text of the pattern for each row, or essentially how many increases and total number of stitches you should have for each row. We're going to complete 9 rows of the brim to increase, and then we're going to decrease for another 9 rows. But this is what the increases should look like. For row 3, you're going to increase in the first stitch and half double crochet 1 in the next 8 stitches for a total of 100 stitches. For row 4, you're going to increase in the first stitch and half double crochet 1 in the next 9 stitches for a total of 110. For row 5, you're going to increase in the first stitch and you're going to half double crochet 1 in the next 10 stitches for a total of 120 stitches. For row 6, you're going to increase in the first stitch and then half double crochet 1 in the next 11 stitches for a total of 130 stitches. For row 7, you're going to increase in the first stitch and half double crochet 1 in the next 12 stitches for a total of 140 stitches. For row 8, you're going to increase in the first stitch and half double crochet 1 in the next 13 stitches for a total of 150 stitches. And finally, for row 9, you're going to increase in the first stitch and half double crochet 1 in the next 14 stitches for a total of 160 stitches. After increasing our brim for a total of 9 rows, we're now going to start decreasing. So to do an increase, we're going to start a regular half double crochet, but instead of pulling through right away, we're going to insert our hook into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through all 4 loops. The process of a decrease is essentially putting 2 stitches together to make 1. So we're going to follow the same pattern here and make 10 decreases in each row until we're back to our total of 70 stitches like we started with before we started increasing. So for the first row of decreases, we're going to decrease in the first stitch and then half double crochet 1 in the next 14 stitches. We're going to repeat this sequence a total of 10 times for a total of 150 stitches in row 1. I'm going to continue to make 10 decreases in each round. So row 1, I end with 150 stitches. Row 2 is going to end with 140 stitches. Row 3 is going to end with 130 stitches. Row 4 is going to end with 120 stitches. Row 5 is going to end with 110 stitches. Row 6 is going to end with 100 stitches. Row 7 is going to end with 90 stitches. Row 8 is going to end with 80 stitches. And row 9 is going to end with a total of 70 stitches. And as you continue to decrease, you'll notice that the hat is starting to fold in on itself, kind of come in, and that's exactly what you want. You want the hat to start coming inward so it can fit around the novelty hat like a sleeve, almost like a sock essentially. When you've completed your 9th and final row of decreases, you're just going to want to end your work with the slip knot, pull your yarn through, and cut. If you would like the ease of being able to take off this crochet piece, like off the novelty hat, I would recommend just ending your work here. But if you're going to keep your crochet piece on the novelty hat indefinitely, I would recommend completing about 4 rows of half double crochets just to work into the inside of the hat. But just note that if you do this, it's going to become difficult to take the piece off the hat if you would like to possibly change the color or something like that. Also, if you would like the entire inside of your cowboy hat to be covered, so the way that I did it was I just repeated the same steps before I started increasing the brim, and the piece fits perfectly inside the hat the same way it fits perfectly outside of the hat. You can either use a crochet needle, a plastic needle, or you can use a crochet hook and just use slip knots to attach the inside of the hat to the last 70 stitches. But aside from that, you are officially done with your cowboy hat. It should be completed and fit perfectly over the novelty hat. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you now know how to make your very own cowboy crochet hat. Thank you. Bye.